All right, guys, there's some crazy news coming out of one Nigerian state who they have just passed a law that says male rapists in Kaduna State can be subjected to surgical castration. If they are convicted of raping a child, like under the age of 14, they will first have their testicles surgically removed and then get executed.
Oh shit! I'll be Joe and you be Bart. Oh, I wish we had this.
That would be great if this was in Jomalia.
And scene.
I mean, Bart wouldn't say Joe
Oh
Malia.
wait, sorry. I was channeling Joe. I just want to like, why don't we have more of this?
I think I was more Barty anyway.
You were more Barty, yeah.
Bart would be like, I don't understand why. He thinks about something terrible to say.
Bart would be like, that's not good enough. We gotta. I don't know what he would.
If it were me.
Yeah, if it were me.
I would blankety blank.
I'm confused about the two-step process here, because if the goal was to make them suffer a little bit before they die, why are they surgically removing the balls? Because it sounds like you're putting them to sleep so they don't feel pain.
Just rip it out.
Cutting it off and then
Well,
killing
maybe
them.
because of like stupid things like human rights and shit.
But then why remove the balls and then kill them then?
Are they gonna live like a period of time, like in between those two things happening? Because if it's like one after the other, why
they don't
just
even
cut
know.
to the chase?
Cut to the chase.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know.
No, they should have like VR goggles, and then there's a camera pointed right at their balls as it's being surgically removed, and so they just can't help but just stare at their own balls being removed.
Oh, that's torturous.
Yes.
That's pretty
All right,
crazy.
But they could close their eyes.
That
You forgot one step though. You forgot the.
Oh yeah, and then it has to be open the entire time, yeah. And you just, no matter where you go, you just stare at your own balls being removed. Yes.
Yep. It's interesting.
And I hope people are against this.
Oh no, they're celebrating.
Oh, cool.
You know why? Because of the fact that during the months of January and May, there were 800 cases of sexual violence that were reported, which is like a triple surge
That's
of
what's
it.
reported too.
And those are the ones that are reported,
That's
exactly.
reported.
And then the reason why so many cases have now gone up of sexual violence is because of the lockdown and the quarantine. A lot of these people are getting locked in with their abuser, and so that's why it's been going up as well. And it's fucked up because the whole child raping part of it, and so that's why they're just making the consequences even more extreme. Because even they're saying that for women will have their fallopian tubes cut out if they are convicted.
And then killed?
Convicted of, well, they didn't elaborate on the women part.
Oh.
So they didn't write execution for women, so I don't know.
Listen, it's all great, right, in theory, but when you have an innocent person who gets falsely accused, then it sucks complete ass. Every time.
Yeah.
Good point.
I mean, I've always been with you on that in terms of like the death penalty, because of the fact that there's just too many people who are innocently accused. Like, of course, over there's just so much of this terribleness that is happening, but I don't know if that's the solution, just to like try to scare people out of it, right? Like, I don't think that's gonna solve it.
We'll be terrible back. Like that's
No, because the thing is, like the counterpoint here on like why this isn't good is because if the consequence is that extreme, it will probably deter people from reporting. Because let's say it's your brother or someone, or like your husband, because a lot of like a lot of marriage rapes happen, and so it's like fuck.
That's
like
interesting.
imagine you're like going like your entire family needing to deal with your husband needing to get castrated and then execute or whatever. Well, execution is just for underage, but yeah.
Yeah, because now that you have to choose between like, okay, do I want to end whatever craziness that's happening, and like have someone killed, right? Like, because now that's on your conscience, right?
Well, that's if you're under the age of 14 and you're the victim. That's the time that you'll get killed, because if you're over the age of 14,
You're just castrated?
yeah, it's castration, yeah.
Oh, okay. So, okay, cool.
Reasonable.
Because like the whole time I was just thinking, man, I feel like they should raise up that age limit or like that age range, because I was like, it should be
They're
like
saying-
higher.
Well, yeah, because so it's those that are
so
convicted of people or raping people over the age of 14 face castration, followed by life imprisonment under this new law.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was about to say, like, if that all happened under the age of 14, I'll be like, then what happens to, like, the 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds?
That happens. They get life imprisonment.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. I'm down with that.
So what's with the castration part though? It's like you get castrated and also life in prison. Like that's like a double death thing. Like that's extra fuck.
Well, you know, there's other places. Even in America, we have surgical castration, chemical castration here in America, which is where they use a drug to reduce the testosterone levels. It is not permanent. It's reversible.
And constitutional. Don't worry.
But yeah, like Indonesia authorized chemical castration in 2016. The Czech Republic offers voluntary surgical castration to violent sex offenders.
Voluntary.
So they're like, I'm just addicted to this shit. Man.
Yeah.
Fucking take it away. Like that kind of thing.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like, what if they just can't control themselves? Like, they just have like an inner demon that they can't control.
Well, I always felt like the castration thing is a weird punishment. If we're gonna go towards like that kind of punishment, like torture punishment, like isn't castration not really fixing the problem?
It is in a sense because it's removing it's your balls, right? So you're removing like where testosterone is being produced.
Oh, I see. Because I was like, wouldn't you just want to remove the dick tip, like your dick head?
Dick head.
Because that's where the pleasure of rape comes from, right?
True.
Like the sex part, you know?
For you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like a power thing, right?
I mean, and not the pleasure of rape, but the pleasure of sex, right?
Yeah, but it's a power thing as
Yeah,
well.
so
then if
it's
you
like
have
trying to
less
take away the sexual urges and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about it. Like, I don't know if that
Yeah,
helps
I
or
don't-
not.
I don't know
That's what I
either.
would want to know is if that actually like did anything, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if that would
they do have studies and stuff and saying that
About the dickhead.
Has it happened to anyone yet? Like, did they actually go through with the whole thing yet?
like the execution part
Yeah,
of
the
it. Well, this is a
execution
new
and the-
legislation, so I don't know if anyone has like gone through it yet. But like I said, the whole castration part of it is not super new news. But the castration and then execution part, I've never heard of. But apparently, that's the new law.
That's crazy.
In every article I see about something like this, like somebody gets raped or anything like that, I always see people in some kind of comment section saying they should have their dicks cut off or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, man, that just scares the shit out of me as
For
far
the
as
potential innocent ones.
well, of course, but even for the guilty, like to maim people, even if they're guilty, I just don't know where that leaves you as far as like being a beacon of anything in the world.
Yeah.
What would be your proposed solution?
Like life imprisonment, like that's yeah.
Life imprisonment. But then what about the whole argument of like it costs a lot of money to have people and whatever.
It costs more to kill someone than to put them in prison for life.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know
At least
about
in
that.
America, it is.
true. Yeah,
It
no,
But
costs
it's like
more to
there's
execute someone.
because it's like you have to. It's like the drugs to do it, and then also like getting the person to like administer it, right? Because it's like you have to be a doctor to administer it, but that goes against the Hippocratic Oath to like kill someone.
Just
so
from
then,
the economics point of view,
Like,
like, it
that's
doesn't make
more
any
that's
sense.
more expensive to do to administer an execution than to
Yeah.
feed a person for life.
Well, plus death row is also a whole nother part of that.
Yeah, it's already like another 20 years in there.
Oh,
yeah,
true,
so-
because
so
you're still feeding that
It's-
person for a
that's-
good.
It's not just the injection in that thing.
Right,
There's like
right,
a whole
right.
thing to it.
That
but
makes
yeah,
sense.
It's a whole
All
economy.
added together, yeah. It's more expensive to execute
Yeah, I
someone.
googled it. It says the death penalty is far more expensive than a system utilizing life without parole sentence.
I don't even want to have those conversations where it's like, well, we should be putting them to death because it's cheaper.
But it's just like it's just one piece of the puzzle.
No, but you're,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I'm just saying in general. I'm like that's a scary conversation too. So
yeah,
but that's why I can't handle the death penalty.
yeah.
You're anti.
Oh yeah.
I'm more sketched out with the death penalty just for the potential of innocence. That's the part that like is always just like that bothers me about it. On the same hand though, like I'm just like fuck. Like there's just some people that like you read about some of these like crazy serial killers and stuff like that just cannot for the life of them be fucking integrated into society, and they're just going to hurt a lot of fucking people like wherever they are. And I'm just kind of like, is this worth keeping this person around? Like,
But think about what we've learned through those people. Like, because if you remember, like in the 70s, like that show Mindhunter really covers this shit well. But they didn't even want to like psychologically evaluate these people because
right.
it's considered like fucked up that you would even try to get inside their minds, try to understand them. But we've learned about how to catch other serial killers because
Right. Yeah. But once we have them, like just
But at the same
treat them
time,
like lab rats.
that's just also not how laws work, right? You can't just make an exception for someone that you caught red-handed, right? Because then if you're gonna write a law about anything, it has to be black and white what it is.
Yeah.
And if what it is all of a sudden now it's like, oh, we're gonna kill him if he definitely did it. What qualifies as definitely did it compared to any other conviction, right?
Well,
so now it's only first-degree murder. Like that's it.
Yeah, I was having this discussion with my other friend too. Is that like the way that the law is executed? You're saying like black or white. Like a lot of times, like there's just so much gray area in between, and that's how stuff like is so messy with the law. He likened it to akin to instead of using like the law as a sledgehammer of just like black or white, like it should be used more as a surgical scalpel as to be applied based on the situation. But I mean that's just.
But
more
then
messy.
at that point, whoever's holding the scalpel has that power, right? So if we just go, okay, it's gray, depending on the situation, we'll determine if it's like if he definitely did it or not. Now, like, what is it, the prosecutor or is it the judge or is it the jury of non-biased peers? Even though most of the time we know. Definitely, even now, the jury's still biased as fuck. And even now, as prosecutors choose a jury, it's still biased in terms of race, right? So, like, just with all of that, it's like, who's holding that power? Who has that scalpel?
That's the best shit too. Is like, oh, well, we want a jury of your peers, unbiased, and then it's all over the news what you did. So everyone who's in the jury pool read about you.
Well, also, it's like, oh, and as a prosecutor, you're allowed to choose 5 people to just not be in the jury. Like. And you don't even have to give a good reason why. Like some of the reasons were like he was wearing a jacket. Like that's literally some of the stuff that they would write down. And there was actually a prosecutor that went on tape recently, or it was on tape, like teaching how to be a prosecutor. And then he was like, okay, if you're trying to convict a black person, you don't want black people in the jury. And to get that, you can't say that they're black because that's against the law. So you have to say something else.
Oh, like he's wearing a
And
jacket.
it's on tape, and like, you confront him about it now, and he's still like, yeah, that was fine.
He had an itchy nose. How's he going to be a jury if he got an itchy nose like that?
Yeah.
I felt like my mom was like a prime target of like being swayed very easily because she was brought in on jury duty and she didn't know what the fuck was going on because her English isn't that great, and so like she was just looking at like the other jurors like, what are they voting for? And she's like, everyone's voting this, okay, I'm gonna go with them.
What's the popular decision here, guys?
Yeah, and I was like, no, my mom was a part of that, and I was like, no, Mom.
You witnessed it firsthand?
No, but like she was just telling me like what her jury duty like experience was, and she was like, I don't even know why I was there, but I was chosen, and I was like, okay, so you went? And she's like, yeah. I was like, I didn't know what was going on, but then like I just saw these other people like raise their hands, and I was like, okay, I think they're making the right decision, so I'm gonna raise my hand too.
I hope it wasn't a crazy case.
I hope it wasn't
like,
a crazy case
innocence
either.
Or whatever. Oh wow.
But yeah, I was like, oh, they deliberately picked her because she would do that, you know? And I'm like, oh,
But
my
because
mom.
of those flaws in our system, that I'm like, why have such a final answer?
True.
Right.
True. Very true.